Islam, Islam,
Islam.
Islam.
How you be?
All right, you?
Man, we just smores as ever, all 7 of us.
Islam.
All the time. It's a blessing to put this grand demonstration on this old dome, cap it off. But it's already capped off. Indeed. So you going to actually open up the way, how you be?
Islam, I open the way up. I'm gonna run it.
Okay, I want to make sure because okay, all right then. Dr. Gary Myers Bay, Islam.
Family, let's go to Fort Territory. Praise Allah, no control, unleash gratitude, God, man. How y'all be today?
Praise Allah, honors. Hey, praise Allah. All is well, Grant, man. Good to see you, Mo.
Islam. I'm a work family, but I'm here and I'll be that long, but I'll be taking my time.
What's up?
Class, though, so gratitude.
Gratitude, Mo. Yes, indeed. Everything all is well, Dr. Bati Bay. Dr. Akhenaten, for Emeru to come and Bay, Dr. Sepsu to come and Bay, Islam, Tribe Endurance.
Islam, gratitude.
Islam.
Greetings to all the Moors online.
It's a blessing. Hey, Dr. Bachi Bay, you need me to do anything, help and assist you, or you good to go? Islam, we have 2 minutes before we open up the way. Islam, Islam. Islam, North America. Islam.
Islam. We ready?
Yeah, we have 2 minutes, Grand Man. Hey, you know, there's nothing wrong with opening up the way. Ready to rock and roll. Islam.
Islam, and one moment, please.
All right.
Islam, Islam, Islam. First, I'd like to rise and give my name is Dr. Bati Bay, the Iowa Territory. First, I'd like to rise and give all manner of praises to Allah, honors to the Prophet, honors to our theocratic government, our Royal Council, our flag, seal, emblem, our divine constitution, our swift angels, our muftis, our citizens alike, honors to our all Moors here and there, all those here on the call, all those that will be. With that, I will open up with the Kemetic Adap Moorish American prayer. Ya Allah abnu haru makuneteru. Ya Allah abhet heru. Ya Allah ma'at heru. Ya Allah hotep heru. Ya Allah haru. Ya Allah ma'at heru kuti. Ya Allah abajajuti. Ya Allah pertim sutek pertim haru. Ya Allah bamaduti. El hedisepsis rei abtu ali. Amin. Alisa, Alisa, Alisa. That is to say, O Allah, the Father of the universe, O Allah, the Father of love, O Allah, the Spirit of truth, O Allah, the Spirit of peace, O Allah, the Spirit of freedom, O Allah, the Spirit of justice, O Allah, you are my protector, O Allah, you are my God, O Allah, you are my salvation by night and by day, O Allah, through your holy prophet, O Allah, Drew Ali, Holisa, Holisa, Holisa. And with that, I will read the chapter, the divine constitution and bylaws. Islam, salvation, our God, unity, the divine constitution of Moorish America. Act 1. The Grand Sheikh and the chairman of Moorish America are empowered to make law and enforce laws with the assistance of the Prophet and the grand body of Moorish America. The assistant Grand Sheikh is to assist the Grand Sheikh in all affairs if he lives according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, and it is known before the citizens of Moorish America. The bylaws. Act 2. All meetings are to be open and closed promptly according to the Circle 7, and love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Friday is our holy day of rest because on a Friday, the first man was formed in flesh, and on a Friday, the first man departed out of flesh and ascended to his Father God Allah. But that cause Friday is a holy day for all Muslims all over the world. Act 3. Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice must be proclaimed and practiced by all citizens of Moorish America. No member is to put in danger or accuse falsely his brother or sister on any occasion at all that may harm his brother or sister because Allah is love. Act 4. All citizens must preserve these holy and divine laws, and all citizens must obey the laws of the government, because by being a Moorish American, you are part and parcel of the government and must live the life accordingly. Act 5. No organization of Moorish Americas is to cause any confusion or to overthrow the laws and constitution of the said government, but to obey hereby. With us, Act 6, with us, all citizens must proclaim their nationality, and we are teaching our people their nationality and their divine creed, that they may know that they are part and parcel of this said government, know that they are not Negroes, color folks, Black people, or Ethiopians, because these names are given to slaves by slaveholders in 1779 and lasted until 1865 during the time of slavery. But this is a new era of time now, and all men now must proclaim their free national name to be recognized by the government in which they live and the nations of the earth. This is the reason why Allah, the great God of the universe, ordained Noble Drew Ali, prophet, to redeem his people from their sinful ways. Moorish Americans are the descendants of the ancient Moabites whom inhabited the northwestern and southwestern shores of Africa. Act 7. All citizens must promptly attend their meetings, become a part and a parcel of all uplifting acts of Moorish America. All Moorish Americans must pay the dues and keep alive with all necessities of Moorish America. Then you are entitled to the name of faithful husband. You must support your wife and children. Wife, you must obey your husband and take care of your children and look after the duties of your household. Sons and daughters must obey father and mother and be industrious and become a part of the uplifting of fallen humanity. All Moorish Americans must keep their hearts and minds pure with love and their bodies clean with water. This divine covenant is from your holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali, through the guidance of his Father God Allah. Prophet Noble Drew Ali, peace and blessings be upon him, founding father and framer of the divine constitution and bylaws of Moorish America, Islam. And with that, we will read the chapter of the week. One moment, please. One second.
Still on chapter 13.
Islam. Chapter 13. Yehoshua attends a feast in Bahar, and here he taught human equality. The fame of Yehoshua as a teacher spread through all the lands, and people came from near and far to hear his words of truth. At Bahar, on the sacred river of the Brahms, he taught many days. And Ak, a wealthy man of Bahar, made a feast in honor of his guest, and he invited everyone to come. And many came, among them thieves, extortioners, and courtesans. And Yehoshua sat with them and taught. But they who followed him were much aggrieved because he sat with thieves and courtesans. And they upbraided him. They said, Rabboni, master of the wise, this day will be an evil day for you. The news will spread that you consort with courtesans, and men will shun you as they shun an asp. And Yehoshua answered them and said, a master never screens himself for the sake of reputation and fame. These are but worthless babbles of the day. They arise and sink like empty bottles on a stream. They are illusions and will pass away. They are the indices to what the thoughtless think. They are noise that people make, and shallow men judge merits by the noise. Allah and all master men judge men by what they are and not what they seem to be, not by their reputation and their fame. The courtesans and the thieves are children of my Father Allah. Their souls are just as precious in his sight as yours, or of the Brahmic priest. And they are working out the same life sums that you have solved. You men who looked at them with scorn. And some of them have solved much harder than you have solved. You men who look at them with scorn. Yes, they are sinners and confess their guilt, while you are guilty, but are shrewd enough to have a polished coat to cover up your guilt. Suppose you men who scorn the courtesan, these drunkards and these thieves, who know that you are pure in heart and life, that you are better far than they. Stand forth that man may know just who you are. The sin lies in the wish, in the desire, not the act. You covet other people's wealth. You look at charming forms, and deep within your heart you lust for them. Deceit you practice every day, and wish for gold, for honor, and for fame, just for your selfish selves. The man who covets is a thief, and she who lusts is a courtesan. Who are none of these, speak out. Nobody spoke. The accuser held their peace. And Yehoshua said, the proof this day is against those who have accused. The pure in heart do not accuse. The vile in heart who want to cover up their guilt with holy smoke of piety are ever loathing drunkards, thieves, and courtesans. This loathing and this scorn are mockery. For if the tinseled coat of reputation could be torn away, the loud professor would be found to reveal in his lust, deceit, and many forms of secret sin. The man who spends his time in pulling other people's weeds can have no time to pull his own, and all the choice flowers of life will be choked and die, and nothing will remain but darnels, thistles, and burrs. And Yehoshua spoke a parable. He said, behold, a farmer had great fields of ripened grain, and when he looked, he saw the blades of many stalks of wheat were bent and broken down. And when he sent his reapers forth, he said, we will not save the stalks of wheat that have broken blades. Go forth and cut and burn the stalks with broken blades. And after many days, he went to measure up his grain, but not a kernel could he find. And then he called the harvesters and said to them, where's my grain? They answered him and said, we did according to your word. We gathered up and burned the stalks with broken blades, and not a stalk was left to carry to the barn. And Yehoshua said, if Allah saves only the ones who have unbroken blades, who have been perfected in his sight, who will be saved? And the accusers hung their head in shame, and Yehoshua went away. And with this, I would like to turn the meeting over to our host, Dr. Torre Simpson Bay. I don't see the Sister Grand Sheik on.
Yeah, he's not on yet. Islam, family. We want to give rise and praise to our Father God Allah, and honor to our holy prophet, Noble Ali. Honor to everything that is Moorish, our grand national flag, emblem and seal, divine constitution, and bylaws of Moorish America. Islam. I'm Dr. Torre Nur Rasul Simpson Bay, National Assistant Chairman of Moorish America. Islam. Well, I want to welcome everyone to another Egyptian Adeptus research team. And at this time, like I said, Dr. Shedo Amenti Muhammad Septuagint, our National Assistant Grand Sheik, also our host instructor, is not here yet, could be for and maybe some weather. So let me give him a call in the same breath to see how the grand man be before we proceed. Islam. Let me see, we got some people waiting in the chat. All right. Wait a minute. 1 second. All right, make sure no text message. No. All right, so Islam family. So right now could be some weather going on in that way. But however, well, on last week we was talking about the Coptic alphabet, and so this week would be the homework. So at this time, for myself to open up the way, just say to open up the way with the measure that was brought forth. As I was doing some research, even on just say heroism. Give me 1 second. Yes. So as I was doing research, because I want to open up the way, and this was something that was very key for me as I was looking at our chapter of the week, which is heroism. I'm gonna pull it up from my other laptop here. If ones can, if you have that printout, but when we talk about heroism, I was looking at the letter H, and let's see here, the letter H and the letter I and the letter E. And I found it very interesting as we were speaking about this week, when we were talking about love, and last night we were talking about truth. So when I look at the condition of our people, when I was looking at the condition of our people, being that mental slavery has been the key issue, because we've all been there in mental slavery. It makes me look at this at this handout that was this printout of our chapter dealing with heroism. I think it's chapter 31 in our New Moorish Holy Quran. And let me see, well, you know what? Let's do it right here. Laptop not being. Let's see here. There we go. Yes, indeed. So when I was looking at, Morris Ken, man, this was, for me, it was grand. And it says, when I talk about this letter H in the Coptic, so when you look in the handout that, of course, Dr. Shadow Menti has sent to us, it says the H in the Coptic language is pronounced eh, which is double E, eh. And it means as in meet, to meet. So when we talk about this is the great meeting, and then we look at the heroism degree of Yehoshua, and then within this degree of Yehoshua, he says, when you look at ayat 9 on heroism, and once again, I was researching the letter H in Coptic. It says, if man will stand, use the power of will. So as myself, if man will stand, so the will and the stand, and then it says, it also goes on to say, and use the power of will. To me, this is, in the Coptic, I saw the letter H as in the meet, because we know that the closest place to meet Allah is above the neck. So this special ayat goes on to say, his chains will fall like worthless rags, for will and faith are stronger than the stoutest chains that men have ever made. And once again, and we know now who made us, and we know that now looking at the letter H in the Coptic language is pronounced eh, or head. This is the closest place to meet the great God Allah. And then it says, in ayat 10, it says that Yehoshua stood erect. among the hungry beasts and birds and said, what is this darkness that envelops me? So if man will stand, because once again, I was looking at letter H, and it goes on to say that it means head. And then the letter H, also I was looking at when it comes to, of course, we was talking about National Grand Sheikah gave us the evolution of alphabet. So I was also looking at the evolution alphabet chart that I actually purchased when I was looking at this, and it says also too that this is the Aramaic of he, so that he is in us. It made me think about Emmanuel. And also now when I look at the letter E is pronounced, it says the letter E as in pen or as rain. It says this is how the E is pronounced in Coptic, two ways, variations of the pronunciation, which is be as the E in pen or AI as in rain. So pen, rain. So it made me think about the thought. So also when we go to, once again, we go back to heroism, and in ayat 11, once again, I want to say that, 10, it says that Yehoshua stood erect among the hungry beasts and birds and said, what is this darkness that envelops me? And then 11, it says, tis but the absence of light. And what is light? Tis but the breath of Allah. Tis but the breath of Allah vibrating in the rhythm of a rapid thought. And then 12, it said, and then he said, let there be light. So when I see that the letter E as in pen or as the AI in rain, well, this is us proclaiming our nationality. This is us, this is Thoth. You know, it has so many, it has so many paradigm shifts when we gather and compile all the lessons that we have been talking about when it comes to the evolution of the alphabet, when it comes to the Arabic, when it comes to Aramaic, just the variations of the alphabet going right back to Kemetic, also Mu. We look at the ancient symbol of Mu. So it was so many paradigm shifts that I had when I looked at just the letters, the H and the E, when it comes to the Coptic language, and also looking at the heroism degree, just when you're looking at these two letters of H and E. So with that being said, that was some research that I saw to help aid and assist myself revelation, receiving a high revelation when we go back and just say looking at your letters and utilizing the letters in its purest divinity. And this is what I see when it comes to the letter H and the letter E in the Coptic language, Islam. So at this time, is there anyone else who wants to bring forth their research? Because this is a research team. If there's anyone who want to bring a question, and hey, we're here to aid and assist one another. Islam, the floor is open. And we ain't no crickets now. Come on here. I know it's somebody. Let's go. Let's get it in. Let's discuss this. Islam.
Islam. Dr. Legal Larry Bates, Vice Consul General, South Carolina Consulate. Today I rise to give praise to the great God of Allah. Give honor to the Prophet, Nuhu Jirali. Give honor to our theocratic Moorish American government. I give honor to the officials of our government. Give special honor to the citizens. We give special honor to our National Assistant Grand Sheikh. And we give honor to Dr. Torrey Simpson Bay, Assistant Grand Chairman, for hosting this consortium research class. Give honor to all concerts throughout Moorish America. Islam. Assistant Grand Sheikh in his past several weeks, he was speaking on the original Greeks and Romans, and referred to them as Etruscans. Had African features. So I'm called Sister Diane Carter Bay, forth to the floor, because we found online, some pictures of these ones, with broad noses, thick lips, and looking like, our Olmecs, ancestors, who walked over here before the continent drift, civilization in north, south, America. Mom, Sister Diane Carter Bay, are you there? Speaking, God, if you can't hear you. Well, I'll just move forward. But it was showing how it was showing the more melanated ones, having again, wide noses, big lips, and melanated skin, had grayish looking hair. Then there was some that had curly hair, And as I went online, I looked up
Islam, Brother Leroy.
Yes, ma'am.
Islam, Pranala, I apologize. I was trying, I'm doing this. Family, can y'all see this picture? Am I doing it? Do y'all
Yes, see it loud and clear. Yes, indeed.
Islam, okay. Woo, good gracious. Oh my goodness.
Hey, I'm enjoying it. Let's go.
Okay, Brother Leroy, I got one. He got big nose and his lips a little bit thin, but he got grayish blackish, like a grayish blackish. They can see it. But one of the pictures, he got big nose and big eyes and big lips. Then I got another one. This one, he got, you see his big nose and thick lips, and his hair is even kind of curly like. And those are all the ones, Brother Leroy, I'm going to describe for right now. Islam.
Islam, give you gratitude for that, Diane Carter Bay. But, as I went online myself, it showed through time how their features changed to what they look like today. Pale, these ones became more pale skin, blue eyes, blonde hair, you see. And the result, and this came as a result, when you go back into Samaria, the record of Samaria, you will see where the tribe of Shabazz, who descended from Ur of Chaldea, which is area of Mesopotamia, which is Southwest Asia today, and these ones were descended from the original Hindu, who were the Kuthites, who was the original mixed Hindus, and also our brother Abraham was from that region, being Persian, was dark skinned but had curly hair, unlike the natural woolly hair of the original people here, Cushites, who were here with millions of years for any other sub-race of people came about. But this tribe, Shabazz, as the states, was on a 360 degree journey of Africa, and they ported or stopped at different places in Africa where they were straight, dark skinned and straight haired people, either dark haired people, and so they under the guidance of one, they referred to Yaqub, who was a Danaku, referred to as a cabin dweller, and who was their leader. And upon the death of this one Yaqub, then one of his second one in command was Shabazz or Sheshbazzar, or Shabazz, referring to him as Daddy Shabazz. Also was a leader of one of the tribe of Judah, referred to him also as Zerubbabel. But this one took over, and again, they was on a journey, and their journey was taking them to Greece, to a place called Patmos, right near the Aegean Sea, and the whole concept was, reading the evenness out of the genes of the Asiatic black man, and they was doing it through gravitation, with the Negroid, the dark germ, the Mongoloid, the brown germ, because you know regular Mongolians was dark skinned because Genghis Khan was founder of the Mongolian Empire in 1206, and he had features, African features, and he can trace himself back, you know, to Kemet, you see, and it's through the Negroid germ or the Mongolian germ that it came forth with the you know, the red germ, the red man, you know, the yellow man, Hindu, who was a sixth ether, tan-skinned, black-haired Chinese that's inhabited China and Australia today. Then came, you know, the pale man, or Flukerod, 8,400 years ago, cave dwellers. And the last on the list was your pale skin, blonde hair, blue eyes, European today. And as I was stating earlier, these Etruscans, you see on the picture, they was dark skin, wide nose, but then through all that mixing, they became pale skin and blonde hair, blue eyes there in Greece today through mixture. But it started when these Hindus ended up in, Asiatic black men ended up in Greece, where they spent 600 years trying to graft this new being. And it said the same thing online, that through 600 years, right, these mixing, that these people became pale skin, you know, and blue eyes, you see. And it's this experiment that was done by these Hindus, took over a period of 600 years, you know. This is done again at number 6 by six ether straight hair people, you know, Asiatic black man. So that's how these people came about, or the mixing from the original, you know, darker people that was there in Greece until up to today. You see pale skinned people. These pale skinned people are your Aryan race, you know. Again, was grafted from the original Asiatic black man, you see, who came between 76 and 60 million years ago, mixing with the original woolly-haired people who were the Cushites. And, they evolved from the protoplasm, or certain organism that was already here. They evolved from, you know, physical form, because all physical life form evolved from the protoplasm, you know, which is right there in our most holy Quran, you see. And so the Greek language, as Chicken Grand Sheik was saying, it couldn't have been older than HEKAPTAH, because these pale people weren't given language, speech until 6,000 years ago, where we was given speech 54,000 years ago, right, which began the 50,000 year epoch, or 49,000 year cycle, which began a whole new cycle. It's called an epoch, E-P-O-C-H, you know. This was the grafting of Adam Kadman, or the Kamenites, you know. This Adam Kadman descended, came from the Kuthite, again with the original Hindus, and they mixed in with the Cushites and brought forth Mother Hawa, who they call Eve, who was also called Nekabel, you know, and she was of Cushites, having woolly hair. Her mother was of the Havilites. Her father was of was a Cushite, and they mixed in with these Kuthites, or these Hindus, you know, during that 49,000 year or beginning of the 50,000 year cycle age. So again, you know, the try to balance the evenness out with these one genes, you see, and we came about again through this 50,000 year cycle age. So they language, and we had language, given speech 54,000 years ago. So our ancient languages came before what they call Greek. You know what I'm saying? If people weren't given speech 6,000 years ago, but then we have to go into our own records. You know what I'm saying? Not rely on the European records or the criminal, because he never told our history in the right perspective anyway. You see? So that'll be my measure, you know, for now, and I'll turn the floor back over. It's fine.
Islam, grand measure, Dr. Leroy Vice Consul General of South Carolina Territory. Yes, indeed. We talk about the Greek language, and of course, we know that this Greek language have our people buried, and it's definitely a factor. It plays a factor in the mental slavery that our people are in. So now, as we come here to our Egyptian Adeptus research team, we all bring forth, our research, whether it be one, say, because it's all dealing with our divinity, it's all dealing with our station here, because we have to remember that Noble Drew Ali, our prophet, Noble Drew Ali, he said he diagnosed our people with mental slavery. And when you research, matter of fact, even when you research the word church, because the church, prophets say return to church. What's the Freemason Christianity? Return to church and Christianity. You see, because the church, when you look at the church, that's a Germanic word, and it really means circle. But at the same time, continue to look at the etymology of just the word church, because German, Greek, all these are those Slavic people had everything to do with also with enslavement. That word church is actually, it means to swell. It means to it has a duality in it, which means which is a downward spiral, or one going into their lower self. And this is when I actually looked up, church, and you see it in Greek, or you see Christos, and even when you look at Christos, you better watch it, because once you go outside of yourself looking for the Christos, well, we already know what's going to happen to you. It's going to enslave you. And this is a meaning that, and when that swells, or when that germinates in generation after generation after generations, yeah, it's a beautiful and strengthening impact when we can trace ourselves back by using, like you brought forth history, you brought forth basically the audio and the visual for us. Then, you talked about the people, you showed us a picture that we was Etruscans. We were there before the whole switcheroony when it comes to the Europeans saying that, well, calling themselves God. So with that, grand man, gratitude, Dr. Leroy Larry Bay, for that research. Gratitude, peace and blessings. And at this time, all right, Morris Kid. Well, is there anyone? Okay, come on in here. Swift Angel 151.
Islam. I am Divine Minister Swift Angel, number 151, Oklahoma Consulate. Let me rise in perfect praise. Give our praise, honor, and glory to our Father God Allah, our illustrious Prophet Al Sharif Abdul Ali. I give honors to Act 1, our flag, ensigns, emblems, Swift Angels, Mufti coin, everything that is Moorish. Islam, family. The question being showed linguistics and etymological relations between HEKAPTAH, Old Nubian Egyptian, or Sudanic Arabic, and so-called Greek and Latin language. I'm gonna be real short and brief. In my research, what I had seen was that, of course, we know that, the hieroglyphs and, pretty much the Kemetic language came first. But what I seen, the dramatic form came, the change came in was whenever Rome began to, invade Kemet and cause a lot of the Cometians to convert up under threat, death, pretty much, to convert them into Christianity. Well, in our brothers and sisters, the Kemetic origin being being forced to convert to Christianity, right? It caused them to flee into the desert. And over time, these communities generated the need to write and instruct in Egyptian language because of the lack of Rome being able to transliterate or understand the divinity. And it went off into, it mentioned Anthony. I think he was like I guess one of the writers, but I had noticed that it was one of the Christians by the name of Shanote who was instrumental in bringing about, the standardized, pretty much the standardized change of the name, the Coptic, being written in a Sahidic dialect. And with that being, with him being instrument in that, that's where I seen that with him being of having a native tongue of the Egyptian tongue, he was able to transliterate a lot of the works, which we know as a Coptic. He was able to transliterate that into the, what do you call it, the Greek language. But we know the Coptic came first. And also it mentioned that it was one other key player. I think his name was Anthemius of Alexandria, as well as Marcus and Anthony. I noticed this, that they all would all go back to the Kemetian or the Egyptian monks to pretty much have their works checked to make sure that they had that they were saying it right. That I guess whatever, the language that they were transliterating from, they was going back to them and using them as like a focal point or a pinnacle to gauge what they were transliterating to see if it was right. So I thought that was real significant. And also there's one more issue. Hold on. One more thing I wanted to mention too. Let me find it real quick. Oh yeah, the Arabic. And I noticed too, when it came to the Arabic being transliterated, or the Coptic being transliterated into Arabic, I noticed that since the Coptic came first, it wasn't until after I guess the invasion of our Islamic brothers and sisters, that's what brought about that transliteration from Coptic into Arabic. And I noticed that all of these things was like simultaneously, but it was mainly dealing with administrative war and who was going rule, because whoever had the power to define, that's who would pretty much have that dominant language. So as Rome declined and our Islamic brothers and sisters came about, that's when I seen that the language was pretty much transliterated in a more pure form versus it being coming just from a Eurocentric thought pattern. And with that, I'm gonna yield the floor. I just got to get back up. I got to get a little bit more in depth into it. But that's my research. Gratitude for allowing me to share my message.
Hey,
Peace and
gratitude for sharing. Because as you were speaking, Swift Angel 151, Council General of the Oklahoma Territory, man, actually, as you were speaking, I was actually peeling back some things I had brought forward, because like you say, when it comes to Arabic, the Greek, all of them was going into Kemet, trying to, basically usurp Kemet, because that was, the, like I said, that was the capital of dominion. This is where all your schools, your universities, all the knowledge, because we know after the great, Atlantis and Thoth going over to Kemet, and bringing them up, that was where our prophet went to. You see, so we give honors to, for Kemet, and we give honors to actually this research, Adeptus class or team research, because we're able to have so many keys from all Moorish kin, in our daily walk. Because believe it or not, being that we know that Christianity and Islam is where people are at, Christianity being a European, Greek, thought pattern, and then Islam being an Arabized thought pattern. Well, this is key, because letters, the evolution of the alphabet, it is important to know. So we give honors to everything that is Moorish. We give honors to our National Sistergram sheet, that brings forth, now we got these keys, we working. And this is the grand National Sistergram sheet now. So let me see what he needs. But next Moorish executive ruler, come on in here with your research. Gratitude, Dr. Mubasa Bey, Islam. Well, here's Swift Angel right here. Swift Angel number 4. All right. All right. National Sister Grand Sheik, are you on the manifest? Let's see, they come in. Yeah, there you go. Unmute your phone, grand man. You're on the board. Now, the Sister Grand Sheik. If you're speaking, unmute your mic.
Can you hear me, grand man?
There you go. Islam, grand man.
All right. Gratitude. Islam, Islam, Islam. Let me open up. Yes, sir. All right. All right. Yes, sir. Pardon self, Morris King. You already know we coming from the soul plane. But all praise be to Allah. Islamism without the schism. And at this particular time, I just want to hear from our Moorish kin, you know, because I know y'all was definitely holding it up, you know, and also get a drawing from what y'all basically been setting out. You know, rise and giving praise to the great God. A lot of hear from our Moorish kin. It sound like the ether's high. So Islam, carry on, Moorish kin.
We got Dr. Diane Carter, babe. You got your hand up, Goddess of Queen.
Islam, Islam, Islam. Gratitude.
Islam.
Dr. Dendra Akurtubay, first let me rise and give praises to our great God Allah. I give honors to our holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali. I give honors to Act One. I give honors to everyone on the line this morning. And well, my little research that I did that my vice consul general, me and him worked together. And what I did, I'm gonna share my screen. I'm gonna try to do this. Let's see now, where did it go? Okay, I have, wait a minute, hold on 1 minute, family. I'm trying to, where did my little stuff go? When I hit share the screen. Because I want to show how we was the first one here, and I want to show our civilizations we was the first one here, and I want to show how when the Europeans came in, and I had some pictures that I had taken, but for some reason, yeah, hold on a minute. Well, here it is right here. I got my.
Which one? This one?
You start with that one. Okay, can you see that, family?
You ain't sharing the screen yet.
Not right now. Islam.
Okay. Hold on 1 minute.
Yeah, you got to reshare it. You just had it shared, but you took off your share, sister.
Okay. Can y'all see that now? No, it ain't sharing that. Oh my goodness. I didn't get up here and got nervous. But anyway, where I was coming from the Nile Valley civilization, and I wanted to I had some pictures of the Kemetic people doing the 1,460-year-old astronomical calendar, and doing the 3,400, the Nubian kingdom of Tarseti. And I had a picture of Zoser, who this was the old kingdom, and this was during 2649 through 2150 BC. And Zoser, he was the king. He was the one who built the step pyramids during that time. And also, I wanted to come on down, and I worked on this yesterday, man. And I can't go to that one right there because I'm on the M9.
Yeah, which one?
This one. Hit share screen. Can y'all see it now?
Islam.
Yeah, we see
Good
it.
gracious, I had to call this some help. But anyway, yes, these as you can see, these are the different dynasties that our people were a part of, and you come on down and you can see how these are our people. You see the thick lips and the big nose, and that's right here. That's the second intermediate period, the dynasties 13 through 17, and 17, that's the year 1783 through 1550 BC. And then where my other page at? I was gonna show you how take that one off. And these right here, you can see how
Islam, God is probably, if you hit that magnifying,
yeah, okay, I see it. Yeah, okay. If you when you look here, you can see the Kemites. You see how we dress, and then you see how the Europeans, how they dress. See how the change, and then you got the Nubians, and then you got this Semite. You can see the change. You can see the change there. How they was trying to, come into, put their way in there. And what am I other?
Share the screen for a second.
I'm gonna have to stop sharing my screen for us 1 second so I can pull the other page
Yes,
up. Yeah, so I can pull the next one and click it 2 times. Okay, can y'all see that one? I took
ain't sharing the screen yet. Oh, yeah.
share. Okay, can y'all see that one? Okay, and as you can see how the different time periods and how we look, and the dynasty. This is the third period. But what I wanted to show you is here, when you come down here, you see where this is the dynasty 28 right there. That talks about, that's during the time of 404 through 399 BC. And this is when the Persians are expelled from Kemet. Capital is moved to Sais in the Western Delta. And then dynasty, when you come down here, dynasty 30, during the period of 380 through 343 BC, that was the last period of rulership by native-born Kemetic kings. And then, as you can see, when you come on down, where that's Alexander the Greek. Alexander of Macedonia, he defeated the Persian army and conquered Kemet. And then Ptolemy the first, they established, they come in and establish the dynasty of Egypt. And Ptolemy the second commissioned Manetho to write history of Egypt, hereby establishing the only surviving records of the dynasty rulership. So during this period down here, this is when they started coming in. And of course, you know about Constantine and all of them, the period 323 through 642 AC, when Constantine and the emperor Constantine, when he started Christianity, that's when Christianity first come into play. So, and then that's when they gave us this Jesus during that time, 325 through 642 AC. So we can see how they started creeping in and putting themselves into our history. And that's the last one I wanted to show. Let me see. And then I had some, I had tried to do, I wanted to ask the National Assistant Grand Sheik. I had looked at the, is that the alphabet right here? No, this one down here where he had told us to try to pick out the alphabets in there, and I went to that particular script right there. Is it share? Share.
Keep coming into the share button.
But anyway, family, I don't want to hold up a whole lot of y'all time, but I'm trying, y'all. At least I got a little something. Can you see this, family?
Islam.
Yes, and I tried to look at that word right there, and I was thinking that word was the that was the word. I mean the alphabet A, L, and M. This the A, L. I was thinking that was the M right there. My National Assistant Grand Sheik had to help me with that. And then that little old alphabet there, I said that was the that was a H. The H in the, I think that's Ein, A-I-N. I'm not quite sure, but those two words I tried to figure them out. Islam. Gratitude for letting me share my measure in this research class. Islam.
Islam. Gratitude for that measure, goddess. Is there anybody else that has a measure to bring forth with this? The Holy Egyptian, the Egyptian Adaptive Research, Sultanate, Islam. Islam. I'd like to welcome to the floor the Grand Secretary of State, Islam.
Islam Moorish can, first of all, want to rise, giving all praises to our Father God Allah, giving honor to our Prophet, Noble Jura Ali, the last prophet in these days and times, giving honor to our Egyptian Adeptus Research Sultanate class, to our host consulate, National Assistant Grand Chairman, Dr. Torrey Simpson Bey, for hosting, and to Dr. Fatah Bati Bey for opening our meeting according to law, our divine constitution and bylaws, and also our subject chapter for the week. Giving a special honor to our National Assistant Grand Sheik of Moorish America, Dr. Shedu Amenti El Mohedded Shepsuel, for calling forth this assignment. This was such a fascinating assignment, Moorish Ken, and I want to give honor to Dr. Shaheed for those printouts that he had attached in the email, because the one I mainly came from was dealing with the Nubian toponyms and medieval Nubian sources. Now, I'm going to share my screen. And in essence, I like to, any word that I come across, I'm going to have to define it so I know what the heck I'm talking about. And starting off with Egyptian Adeptus research class, the ancient Kemetic origins of so-called language in comparison to HEKAPTAH, which is Coptic, Old Nubian, Kemethian, or Sudanic Arabic. Linguistics is the scientific study of language. And in essence, we were dealing with a lot of sciences in this particular assignment. And it's important to understand how language, especially minority and or endangered languages, are a crucial part of one's community culture, legacy, and identity, of course. So to attempt to bury a language, culture, and its people and remix to claim as one's own is indeed another form of genocide. And this is what happened in reference to the remix, and giving honor to all of my Moorish kin, Dr. Torre Simpson Bey, Dr. Mubasa Bey, Dr. Dendra, for bringing forth their measure, because all of this was key in reference to just how blended this stuff was to keep us not recognizing who we are and what our culture and history was. And I ran across several pictures in reference to the Alexander the Greek conquest, and it just struck me as profound in reference to, and this is just a couple of photos, and as Dr. Dendra pointed out, and Dr. Leroy Larry Bay as well, giving honor, Dr. Dendra pointed out the various, how you could see the hue changing and how they remixed, et cetera. That was very profound. So I was just fascinated in reference to when you do the research in that particular area, how the doors open for you. So you see Alexander the Greek portrayed with the Egyptian headdress, which automatically, you have to keep out of your passions in order to do the research, and how they just, conquered our people. As Dr. Torre Simpson Bey was speaking about, Arabized, and the things of that nature. So when I looked at, again, Ptolemaic period, and that was actually a general of Alexander the Greek passing it on as far as their particular culture is concerned. Now, with us, Nubian toponyms, in essence, toponym is basically describing how a word can be created based upon the environment. Let's say, for instance, Blue Nile, and that could be used as a term of location or what have you. That was remarkable, because even here on these shores, when we were in, I believe it was Tennessee, and they had a name that you knew did not come from English, but it was dealing with the ancient Canaanite tribe. So you could see the various remixes that are still occurring to this day. As far as our history is concerned, dealing with a time span of 5 millennia, we're talking about 5,000 years and 4 written languages and their variants. Now, they wanted to speak about a focus on the subset of place names which appear specifically Nubian in form and not to be loans from Greek or Arabic sources. So that lets you know where the original sources was coming from and who was part of the remix. Toponyms, study of names, places, specifically their meanings, topology, use, and origins. So it's coming from Greek topos, meaning region, Anama meaning to name. When we look at if the country adopts a new language, which is commonly used by the locals, the meaning of the place name might also change, which we have seen on several occasions. That was key. In serious scenarios, the name can also be changed, which we've also seen that as well. The parent language may also evolve, but this will not alter the region name alone. Parent language evolution can permit the other toponymic processes to take place. We've seen that down throughout history. This also gave an example of Edfu and Kemet and the various changes that went through. How the languages can change in reference to, we've spoken about the wars and things of that nature, or people remixing. And this just gave me a broader understanding of what we had already gone as a foundation when our prophet brought to us. Many of today's Nubians still inhabit a stretch of the Nile Valley. So you can see how the cultures came together. Meroitic and Nubian have a common origin. Now, they say that in one sentence, and then they turn around and say, well, they must have gone their separate ways long ago for their written states to exhibit so little similarity. So, see, that's the truth and falsehood strangely mixed, but it's not so strange if you have the history. And I'm like, I mean, right in your face. So if you don't have the proper foundation, then you're going to go along with, well, it can't be, even though it's right in the same sentence. And those are just like, look, again, so many paradigm shifts, it was unreal. Now, this is where I started actually comparing, and I actually put in, because it started out, I'm coming from page 10 in the handout that Dr. Shahid sent. So how many old Nubian names are descended from Meroitic or Egyptian ancestors, but whose meanings have been forgotten, altered by language change, or reinterpreted so as to accommodate cultural change in an altered environment? How many descendants whose ancestries are obscured by similar processes? And this, is what happened to us as a people. And this is why we have to give honor to Prophet Noble Drew Ali for providing the keys so we go back and do the research and be what we know. Now, I was in that handout pulling out what I saw were similar root, and it had O-N. And, of course, again, this is where the thinking process and the revelations come. O-N with O, Old Nubian, duh. So the A-N-A looked the same root as the A-N-A, dealing with that. So we're speaking about Old Nubian and also Greek. So in this instance, you can see how the Greek didn't bring anything. It took the root of the Old Nubian into their so-called word. That's how I was doing my assignment, plucking out the actual root of the word to see what was similar, what was different. Here you see they've got Greek and Old Nubian together, Coptic, and you can see the similarities. Now, of course, I'm going to look up Khartoum, which was also in Kemet, Now, here's another list found on page 11 and 12 in reference to the various terms being the same, but you can see the root of the word and how it went through various changes in reference to Greek and Old Nubian. Again, another set, Old Nubian and Greek and Coptic. Old Nubian, and I noticed there were a couple of times when this had unidentified, and I've seen that in Rome before in reference to where they don't want to give you the key, so they just label it unidentified. So this is where your thought processes have got to come into play. Do you see the similarities? Well, then, that's also Old Nubian. And so this was just fascinating, just the various instances when you put these things side by side, Now, again, they're telling you Khartoum origin is uncertain. That's always a red flag for me. One theory, you know, and then they go to the various degrees of how they're going to break this stuff down. Derived from Arabic, it means trunk or hose. If you derive it from something else, it means place where rivers meet. Okay, they bring it in Sudan. Khartoum safflower, cultivated extensively in Kemet. The Nubian word agartum, abode of Atum. Now, here's the link, you know, taking us back to Kemet. So I'm like, it's right in your face, but we've got to pick it apart so that we can go beyond what appearances are, because we know that Rome are masters of illusion. Maasai people, Khartoum, we have acquired. And it also spoke about the geographic location of Khartoum. Okay, now, and this is bringing it to a close. Similarities in Coptic, Egypt, and Khartoum. Here we see that root, court, Perillo, or what have you, where we're coming from Coptic, Old Nubian, Greek, which is the remix, because you can see Koypte. I'm like, wait a minute. If you look at the word, it looks like it's saying Coptic. If you look at the word, it looks like it's saying Egypt. So you can see how they pull different pieces to try to remix, because I'm just, you know, I'm just giving praises to Allah. Now, here's another one. I went to an old Nubian dictionary. The AMAN that we saw previously means water, and it shows the variations in the word. Here, AMR, AMN, Greek, and Old Nubian. And the AM, again, Old Nubian. Two indigenous languages developed in Nubia in written form, Meroitic and Old Nubian. The scripts of these two languages reflect the cultural influences of the period. In other words, Egyptian hieratic script for Meroitic, Coptic script for Old Nubian. The classification of the Meroitic language is uncertain, again that word, due to the scarcity of data and difficulty in interpreting it. Since the alphabet was deciphered in 1909, it has been proposed that Meroitic is related to the Nubian languages and similar languages of the Nilo-Saharan phylum. And then last thing, Nubian language, and this is it in Arabic, are a group of related languages spoken by the Nubians. Old Nubian is preserved in at least 100 pages of documents, comprising both texts of a Christian, sliding that in, religious nature, and documentary texts dealing with state and legal affairs. And it goes into Old Nubian was written with a slant, variety of the Coptic alphabet with additional characters derived from Meroitic. So we see that all of this is coming from Kemet, and we can see the remix where the Greek language is a copy of what Old Nubian, HEKAPTAH, Kemethian language is about. So that was just my measure, and I just wanted to give much gratitude and honor for the assignment, because it's nothing that compares to doing your own research. But, you know, I praise Allah for the handouts that were given as a guide so that you can use these keys as a prophet did to us and trace yourself back. So that's my measure. Gratitude, again, for this class, and much peace and love.
Islam, pardon self, Brother Bati Bey. Islam. Can you hear me, Morris Ken?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, man. Islam, I wanted to say, Grand National Secretary of State, you was right on the money with that particular drawing you gave there. And I like the way you showed the remix in regards to dealing with that measure. You also pointed out putting them side by side, showing the family these the same words basically. And these people done come in here and added their own little twist to it here by taking away certain alphabets. But like you said, you notice as you got through it, I can see the word. And that's what we was trying to get our Moorish kin to see, that it ain't really hard to read that particular language, because some of them words you can actually identify if you learn the actual root of the language and learn the alphabet, just like any other one. You will be able to pick out mostly all of those things that are visual, because the Latin scripts and the so-called Greeks and the so-called other scripts come from that later. And so we can actually go back to the other class we had and say, well, that's how we see that the Kemetic language is a parent language, actually, of what they got on the manifest. They just twisted it up a little bit and put it in a different form and then want to call it English, so to speak, you know? And so we are able to see that certain things connect right to our prophet. We give honors to also the Sister Carter Bay for what she brought to the manifest, and showing us, you know, the different time periods and unfoldment, especially, you know, how the Hyksos end up trying to come in there during a certain time period, 13th intermediate, which what they had to deal with the Libyans during that time as well. You know, also the other portion, that word was al-Miraj that she had up there too, by the way, you know, which actually deal with the journey, you know, of Muhammad from Jerusalem, from Mecca to Jerusalem in his night journey. But nevertheless, that's a powerful demonstration, Grand National Secretary of the State. You put it together, and the thing was, you was able to point out, you know, in that measure, the remix, you know, because I read something last night, they was talking about the hieratic, and they said, well, we don't want to get into the hieratic script because they know good and well it wasn't in context with what they were trying to put out there with the language. And so they try to be slick like that right there. And we ain't gonna address that here, you know, because if they address it while they're trying to address the other measure, then, you know, it ain't gonna line up right. You know, so yeah, it's something else, it's long. All right, next more.
Islam. I like to add too, you know, man, it was a, you know, grand, you know, giving rise and praise our Father God Allah. But yes, that was a grand measure that Dr. Dan Carter Bay and also our National Secretary of State brought forth, you know, even showing just the remix and like a toponym. I never actually heard of a toponym. And when I think about toponym, I'm thinking about the topographical area. I'm thinking geographics. I'm thinking like our National Grand Secretary of State brought forth that. Well, it depends on where you're at, the geographical or the dialect. And also Dr. Ann Carter, so she brought in how when one amalgamating into the indigenous people, and then the lighter shades, and then also too the dialect gets into the whole remix, and then boom, we have a usurpation, which you brought forward with that Platonic period, which all these things I see as I keep going back and researching here and there. Yeah, it all makes sense to why we have our men of slavery to this day. Islam. I just want to add that. Peace and blessings.
Islam. And also briefly too, I meant to share this here. That's the original picture of what the sister was putting out there earlier. You see, the one she had in the book. You see how they dog. You see, they mostly have on the actual garb, you know, similar to what the prophet had, you know, as well. They got the little sash, and they also have on the shinty there. But yeah, you see the difference in them all here. This is, you know, a different version, like they say Indo-European, but in this one, look, it looked more close to, you know, the Asiatic of the Far East as they come now. Look at the features on it. More like a, you can say Asian style, but nevertheless, and then you see in the front here, you know, definitely one is Hyksos out, so to speak. And that's when they was assimilating, and that's how we allowed them to come in at that time, you know, coming from the region of the Caucasus or Caucasus region, and we was letting everybody come to Kemet. And once we start doing that right there, that's the uniting of or Lower and Upper Kemet was the process of it began in 3100 BC. But then by this time it got around, we let people come in there, and certain people wasn't coming just to just to hang out. You know, they like, we finna overthrow this demonstration. And so yeah, Islam. All right. Yes, sir. Next more. Okay, we ain't got it. So basically you gave your measure, Brother Simpson Bay to Brother Bati Bay. And I mean Mubasa Bay. And then Islam and Bati Bay.
No, I didn't give one. I just got the information this morning.
Oh, yeah. Oh, Islam. It didn't come to you in the email?
No, sometimes like I gotta reboot I was having a problem with my computer with the Word, and then I had to reboot it in order to get to my emails. And so if it's not in my regular mail, it's not in my bulk mail, then I, you know what I'm saying? So I didn't get it. I just got it this morning. But so I only looked at it 5 minutes ago because the assistant chairman sent it to me.
Islam. Yeah, I was wondering, but it did. So it didn't come through your email because you say your Windows system crashed.
Yeah, my window, the Word crashed, and then sometimes on my computer, I have to go to my bulk mail in order to see if any other stuff is in there, and it wasn't in my bulk mail neither. So I meant to call you. I didn't even do that. But
oh no, all is well, brother. I know how it go. You know, they try to update you sometime. I'm gonna be honest with you. I won't click the update. They trying to give me an update now, but I won't click it. Because last time I clicked it, it wiped everything completely out on my computer. Word. And I had to call them and then get them to restore. Oh, it's still there, just hidden in the back. Why y'all gonna update my computer and remove my information?
Sees what it did to me was it, like on my documents, it would not let me access my Word where all the type stuff is. So they shut it down, and then they had to give me an old version of Microsoft Word.
Yep. And that's right. That's right. Sometimes they'll force you to. I look for the day that they just try to force mine to update, you know, because I ain't accepting it. I'm gonna tell you, I got too much on here for them to be playing around.
Yeah.
You know. So I ain't trying to update mine right now. I got you, Grand Man. I know where you coming from.
I do got some information though, but it's not. I don't know how it ties in, but it's not specific to the assignment.
Islam, well, let me see what our Grand National Secretary of the State say and get it together, and I'll come right back to you. Islam, Grand National Secretary of the State.
Islam, pardon yourself, Dr. Bati Bey. Gratitude. I was just thinking in reference to that. I didn't know if you had maybe an external hard drive in order to save your information separately so that in case they do that, because sometimes they do it without knowing, and you got to, you know, call them, Geek Squad or whatever, to try to fix the stuff. But if you have an external hard drive, that might help. So however Rome choose to play their games, you know, you still got your, you know, documentation. Islam.
Islam, gratitude.
Islam, gratitude. Yes, sir. And I gotta get me another. I got 2 terabytes back there, but they bargain. They bargain down too. I actually got 3 drives. I got this one and a little small one in the other back there. But oh goodness gracious, they old as dinosaurs. So about time for me to get another. Praise be to Allah. But yeah, Grand National Secretary of State is right about that one. Man. Well, go ahead, brother. What is it you had to bring forth?
Islam, I'm gonna try to share this screen, and this is out of this you know, President Non's already given. I'm gonna try to share this screen because this is something that I seen a brother post, so I went into it. And this is a book called Queen Mu. And basically it's like, even if you look right here, but what it's saying, it alludes back to I'll just read some of it. It says, it was well noticed that like all Mayan authors who have described the awful cataclysm that caused the submergence of the land of Mu, and basically goes into just talking about how Plato and all them you basically usurp with Alexander the Greek. They usurped the information. I'm trying to find this one excerpt because it describes the people, and when you see if it describes the people, that it would take. I just had the thing. This it right here. I'm more so going to the fact of about the history to show that the Greeks, they like everybody's been saying, they just weaseled their way to, you know, languages, information, and basically to overtake what was already to super, as you say, superimpose themselves, especially with the Ptolemaic dynasties of that era. And this is another thing that I was looking over, because it kind of gives it says a nice little history. Let me see if it's, I think it might be up here. It's known as a civilized nation thousands of years ago, as it in what's the date of the English? See, and no, it's not there. Having a hard time finding this stuff, but down here, if we look at here, right here, it says in the classic authors, the Greek and Latin, we find frequent mention of the great Saturnian continent, distant many thousands stadia from the pillars of Hercules towards the setting sun. Pochar in his life of Solon says that when the famed Greek legislator visited Egypt, it says approximately 600 years before the Christian era, Sonachus, a priest of Sias, also, I don't know how to pronounce the name, a priest of Heliopolis, told him that 9,000 years since the relation of the Egyptians with the inhabitants of the land of the West had been interrupted because of the mud that had made the sea impassable after the destruction of Atlantis by the earthquakes. Now, there's just it's still good if, you know what I'm saying? It just shows that the history was extended way past the Christianity, and it's not the Christian era that a lot of stuff is. So if it's showing that the Egypt and even the land of the West, they're using this book, Mesoamerica, which is really just talking about, you know, I try to say this, ain't really no, you know, they use terms like this, but just to show that this history dates the Greek, and he even talks about in this other about Meroe, the land of Meroe, and the land of Meroe, and how they were saying that a lot of the stuff came from our people that was on this continent. And I'm trying to find this one that says this part that over here, the Egyptians said that even over in this land that they, I'm trying to find this stuff because me sitting over here saying I just came upon this. So close my mouth real quick. And I'm not able to find what I'm looking for, but this is just a good book to, you know, add substance to what about the languages and the history show that the Greeks were just, the Greeks and the Romans aren't as who they say they are. They're not the Europeans, they're not of the European stock. It actually is the Etruscans, and it actually goes into it rather, it goes into it further than what we, most of the time I'm unable to find what I was looking for, but this is just a element of what I was reading to, show more antiquity, and bring some antiquity up. But that I'll leave as I come.
Islam. Yeah, and we definitely familiar with the book Queen Mu. And a lot of the information that come forth from Solon and Plato, Thales and all these ones, they actually sat at the feet of some of, the priests of Kemet, so to speak. And so what it was, that's where you get the story. And they actually got the actual story off of the walls of Edfu, in one area, where they, it's actually more of a papyri than anything, when they go into the essence of transliterating, everything, talking about the 10 kings that was there after the flood, So a lot of this stuff is preserved right there in Kemetic. You know, like I was going back and forth with our family the other day, you know, in regards to dealing with what they call the pyramid text. That wasn't written inside the actual pyramid itself. It was found in the subterranean vault beneath the pyramid. There's a difference of in the pyramid and beneath the pyramid. You know what I mean? And we was trying to get one to see, you know, why is it that the ancestors didn't inscribe something inside the pyramid itself, you see? And a lot of stuff that they are attributing to the ancestors have been put in there later, you know, to forge certain measures by the European. All you got to do is look at the way how the script look. If the script look, you know, like it's in a line of perfection, in most cases, this came in during the Ptolemaic period. You know, these were Ptolemaic interjections, so to speak. Most of the stuff that got antiquity on them, you can see the plaster falling off the walls in different pieces of it. And this is where you can tell the antiquity just by looking at it, even though they got carbon dating and so forth and so on. So though the tomb or the burial chamber beneath the pyramid may go back to 4,000, 3,000 years ago, you know, if somebody tests that tomb in the area where, you know, they dealing specifically with the ground floor and everything else, it'll date back then. But then if they have inscribed or imposed something else in the chamber, you see, they would also attribute that to being as ancient as it is. That's how easy it is to switch something up, you know what I mean? To make it seem like, but it's been here since this time. Even make Ptolemy seem like he was prophesied to come. So, you know, we can't look around these shenanigans that these people throw up here. And I want to show them more stuff as well. Let me see here. This is very important. I played this video right here. You got a lot of our people want to where is that? Here it go right here. Let's see here. We got a lot of our people want to uh-oh. All right. What that brother Shabbat Bay share something to the screen. Let me see here. Right here. Now I want you to listen to what this brother said for those who hadn't seen this. Now, the brother Renoko Rashidi is present here, who a lot of the people respect. Watch what he say happen with the people.
Are you sharing?
Yeah, hold on real quick. I thought I was. That's that situation. Let me pull it up again. Thought I was sharing just then. Okay, is it shared? That it should be shared now. That's it.
Islam.
Okay, gratitude. Now, you know, Renoko Rashidi is one of the people that they looking at as being a Kemetic scholar. Now, he's actually present while this brother demonstrating this. And I guess this is somewhere in Philadelphia, right? But look at this. Watch this.
Islam, or Arabic, the name of Allah is written Leaf, Lam, Asafir. This is Wolof. This is ancient Africa. This is Leaf, Lam, Asafir. This is Allah. But right now, you go to the Quran, you go to the Arabic, they told you this is Arab, this is African, this is Wolof. I translate the Quran in Wolof more efficiently, more perfectly than the Arabs can do. The Quran we reading, the vocabulary is this old. The modern day Arabs for Arabic Saudi and Yemen, they cannot translate, they cannot explain those words. It's too old. They call it ancient Arab. And when they relate to ancient Arabs, the people, these are the black peoples of the Arabic Peninsula, the dark-skinned people. And this is the original name of Allah. You say the name again? Please, Lam, Ha, Sacher. Ha, Sacher means the Ha of the pyramid. And this is the right hand. Like you're offering power, you're offering strength, you're offering with your right hand. See the pyramid right there, and your shoulder, your elbow. Leave Lam, Ha, Sacher. So using your own sound. I have a question. Yes.
Is there a relation between Walla language and Wahhabi law in Saudi Arabia?
Laws, no.
Now notice he identified a symbol as a word, a thing now.
But the language, yes, the Wolof is more ancient.
Okay.
And the Wolof is traced back to the pyramid text. Diab wrote many books about, even a lexicon, a dictionary of Wolof and how grammar, conjugation. I live, you live, he lives, she lives, we live, you live, they live. The same way they were conjugating, the same way we conjugate, and the same way we write, and the same meaning it has. So while 3,000 years, 2003 right now, there is no change.
Wolof is Kemetic.
Wolof is Kemetic by nature, it's a Kemetic is the paleo language, it's the mother tongue language. The Wolof is what we speak right now.
So Wolof is a derivative of Kemetic, absolutely.
From Thebes to Timbuktu to Tuba is even the same line. When we were aggressed, we just moved somewhere else. We kill people, the other killers, destroy, stole, burn libraries, but the elders still have the memory. The children are forced to memorize the knowledge, oral tradition. So wherever you go, you have the cultural memory, the cultural background, the political background. I saw how they were enthroning a king, so I can enthrone a king again. I saw how a mighty woman was next to the king, so we should have a mighty woman next to the king again. We saw how we were teaching and raising children, how we were educating in Kemetic. We can do it in Tuba, we can do it in Tuba. So we continue, regardless of slavery, regardless of the invention of the Exodus, of the Persians, of the Greeks, of the Romans, of the Arabs, we were invaded, we're still being invaded. But spirituality will never extend. It's from the mighty creator. We call him Allah, God, Jehovah, doesn't matter. But creator, the pure, real, original creator. You have the pure, real, original spirituality will never be extinct, will never die. We just carry on from one generation to another, and that's what you're seeing here. Yes.
Are you saying that the ability to read the what they call hieroglyphics was never really lost? Because if you listen to European history, they're saying that it was lost after the closing.
That's what the intention was, to make it lost, and they killed the priest.
Now you notice what the brother said that asked him the question about it being lost. Now remember, this brother reading or identifying with the symbol as a representation of a word in Wolof. You see what I'm saying? Not being one alphabet itself, like they try to teach it is. And then you notice this brother asking the question about a European, himself saying that, they said it was lost. Well, if he done ran across this information, they saying the ability to read the language is lost, then how in the world they got an alphabet or book around here teaching people so-called meta? But listen to what the brother say again here.
Intention was to make it lost, and they killed the priest. They found who can read it, who can write it. They slaved them, and they get the documents they needed. Or they burned thousands of libraries and temples.
Didn't I say that? They catch you, get you to translate it, and they kill you. And I didn't even know this brother had demonstrated this particular measure, but that's a male.
They hold back, force us to translate, and then they kill us. When they come to Timbuktu in colonial Mali, they did the same thing with Ahmed Baba. Ahmed Baba was writing like this. The Bambara actually is even ancient than the Wolof. But back then, Mali, Ghana, Songhai was the same area. Senegal is very, very new. It's just a river. And this reminds me also of the Nile River. Whatever they do around the Senegal River, that's the same thing they were doing around the Nile River. But when they got Ahmed Baba, they made sure that the Moroccan army kidnapped him out of everybody. They killed everybody, said, don't touch him. They took him, make sure they forced him to write in their language, to translate books and books. After they don't need him, they think we have enough, they kill him. See? So but right now there is an untouched city in Tuba. You go right now to Africa, Senegal, where I'm from. You see the biggest library in the whole world, and you don't see it in no textbook. One man, one person, Sheikh Ahmed Bamba, wrote 15,000 pounds worth of paper. 15,000 pounds. And the French challenged him during the colonial time. There were 83 leaders there, like you know of Bernsen, you know Samoy, you know all those great leaders, they were all killed. They wanted to fight the French. The French were scared of the man-to-man combat. They tried it, they lost. So they stayed from the boat, started bombing them. Everybody died, but they couldn't touch Cuba. They couldn't bomb. Because the man said, you have a spiritual shield. You no matter what you try, you cannot kill me. Let me demonstrate it. Take me everywhere you want. It took him to exile 8 years to Gabon, 7 years to Mauritania. He came back more powerful and built a magnificent temple with stones just like this. It's like in Kalimba right now in 2003. So that's why I want to go back and forth. I want you to know that history, just like Dr. Clark said, it's the current time. Whatever we did 5,000 years ago, we can do 5,000 years later. Whatever was in the beginning will be at the end. So you got to be able to find something that can justify your history from the present time. If not, it's disbanding. The Greeks, the Romans, the Europeans are able to always go back to this and that. And right now, they can justify, explain everything. So we have to have the connection. It's coming then, but it's Tuba now. It's Timbuktu and Tuba. You got to have the same things we're using, the bare feet, the making of ink, the sculpting on the rocks. Everything is still alive. Now let's go quickly upstairs and hold this look. It's like in ancient Egypt.
A brother like this, who is as good as any guy I've ever dealt with in Egypt. And he's explaining to us from our own cultural perspective. So we really have a gold mine here.
Yes, yes.
Make me want to move to Philadelphia.
Thank you. And this is as significant as the Sphinx. We're talking about the body of a lion, the head of a pharaoh. We got the body of a woman, the head of a lioness. Wherever you see a king, there is a queen. Wherever you see a queen, there is a king. It's a balanced family. That's why Peter was saying we have to reconcile, reconnect the African family. We need to get married, stay married. I don't want to get to it, but you know, we need to have families. We need to have male and female in the house so that the children feel comfortable and then continue that generation. This is where we get it from. And this is no pejorative when you see, you know, women's breast in Africa is okay. This is life. You know, you're feeding, you know, the children, you breastfeeding is okay. Woman in Africa, out of nowhere, the baby cried, it's just breastfeeding. There's nothing, you know, shameful to it. ISIS were doing it, HEKAPTAH were doing it, Hatshepsut were doing it. It's the life symbol, the Niko, hey, when you translate it in Pula, Niko, hey, this is mean out. But the Greeks, Napoleon and Champollion didn't know how to read Pula or Wolof. They just used the abbreviation, the A, the N, the K, and the H. They say, just like you see CNN. You know, you gotta know, or ABC, you gotta know that this is cable network news. If you don't know English, you just say synonym. Synonym means something, whatever. Like, for real, it's no joke. Can you imagine 2,000 years from now, later, there was a collapse, you know, of explosion, everybody messed up, and some new race come and find a piece of satellite, CNN. They didn't know English. They will call it synonym. And they will say synonym is somehow kind of communication. And it's going to become another language. That's what they mess with our language. But if you learn our language, you can decipher word for word. Everything in the hieroglyphics or nature is abbreviation. The Greeks know that. Because when you say ABC, that's really not ABC. That's alpha, beta, delta, zeta, epsilon, gamma, lambda.
It's long. Now you see that there, Morris Ken? That brother, he just ran it down exactly what went on. But notice how he identified one symbol as a word, not as one alphabet. You see what I'm saying? That's why Mustafa Gadala said these symbols represent things. And he showed you one a symbol that represented Allah going back to the Wolof language. Now, Brother Renoka Rashidi, which is, like I say, well respected right now, you notice he didn't go against that brother. He honored him for what he set out there. You see what I'm saying? And that's powerful in and of itself, Morris Ken. Like he showed again that they actually killed, you know, our people and then forced them to write these things. Like I had been telling our Morris Ken, brother, what the brother name, Walter Williams tell you this, and a couple of more of the scholars tell you this. And it's just crazy that our people would prefer the history, you know, a so-called historicity, we can call it monsterosity, you know, that's demonstrated by this European, you know, constantly remixing our teaching, our information, and giving it back to us as they would like to give it back to us. You see, I got, let me see, a measure here I wanted to show our family too briefly as well. And I was showing the family this, and most of our family, you can see they got like the woe signs looking at this. This is the Piscean records I got over here that I had it for about 25 years. And I was showing our family, you know, and I used to bring a lot of people home with this at the Piscean records. They go into talking about how the Trinitarian form, you know, was inadequate, and when sufficient Hebrew singular forms of God existed in the ancient world. Man, they got whole timelines of history in this particular book here. It's a King James Version study Bible, right? But they get a definition of the name Allah, and you've seen me write it this way before. It says another singular title occurring some 50 times is Eloah, and the word derives from Allah. You can see the root in relation here. It says meaning to worship, to adore, and thus presents God as the one supreme object of worship. Thou art ready to pardon, gracious and merciful. Then it gives all the different areas where this is located at. I ran into one of the brothers that the Hebrew Israelites, everybody know in the community as Captain Tazariak. And he, you know, Brother Judah put us in contact to speak with each other, and he started attacking Islam, you know, and he said, yeah, you know, it's that Islam garbage is this and that, there, right? And so I listened to the brother, and I simply told him, I say, well, you know, I say, you are Hebrew, right? You say you are, right? I say, well, you believe in the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High, right? And that y'all follow that, right? Yeah, most definitely. We follow the laws of Yahweh, you know. And so I say, well, you know, Ishmael came from the same lineage, you know, that Israel come through, you know, being Abraham, you know, father and son and so forth, you know, two sons. I say both of them was blessed, one to be chosen and one to beget a great nation. I say now to go against that, that'll be going against the Most High, right? If you follow his instruction, right? And then I say, let me show you something. And I showed him this, you know, and the brother flee. He left, and the brother Judah was like, what in the world? Man, you there, Cap? You're like the commissioner ran Cap off the call, you know, and I never spoke to the brother since per se. But the thing is that even our own people being taught to be brought up into some oppositional standpoints of being able to see some more, they perpetuating the Europeans' ideology. In other words, you canceling your own culture, and this all has to do with one's bias, you know, your own bias, and then we dealing with selective research, you know, and also in the same breath, Morris King, this is very important right here, because I put this out here, you're gonna see what happened. Now, this is my page here, which Morris see, all I use it for is teaching. I don't be no bunch of gossiping and going crazy on here. And so what happened is, only time people get crazy in my thread is when they come from the outside trying to tell me what I can post and what I can't post. And so, you know, having people always coming a certain type of way, it just make me make it plain. If they be quiet, you know, then they won't keep getting these proofs hitting them upside of the head. But the more they, it's like a chokehold. You know, if one you try to wiggle up out that demonstration, you know, it get tighter, you know, like a boa constrictor almost. And so it is the same with this truth. You know, we get out here, go to demonstrating this truth, Morris Ken, and ones call themselves want to go against it, they don't do nothing but make me go harder to prove to you what it is. And so it brings stuff up out of me like this here, you know, and I was showing the Kemetic origins of the Arabic glyph, Allah, which is this symbol here that we know, right? And showing how it originated from the Demotic papyri and the house of Ptah, because this is a symbol representing the house of Ptah. That's Ptah standing in between two pillars. And if you look right here in the corner, you see the actual glyph for the name Allah, right? And if you come here, we already did this in our class. We showed you that same thing existing here, you know, but in the Demotic form of the writing, that this thing was taken basically from not only Demotic papyri, but also the house of Ptah, you know, and that's HEKAPTAH. That's what the house of Ptah means, HEKAPTAH. So then I showed the L plus the La, you know, because many don't know it evolved from I, Ya, Ya, and La. All of these words, you know, give you Allah. You see, Allah. You see it's, and then you have Allah, Allah. You know, all the ways that you can see in the evolutionary process of this word. And you see the figurine here with here standing here. You add mess to this right here, which had to do with the ancient rulers, the sons of Ham. Yeah, mess, you can see the word Messiah, where they get that demonstration from as well. But what really striking here is that Allah, that is up here being depicted. You see the headdress here. Those who don't know, they be going to saying, well, Allah was a moon deity. And they always try to pull up or Ta, because the teachings in the words dealing with Allah actually go back here, and they don't realize you're actually recognizing where the origin of the word Allah come from. It ain't got nothing to do with this as being Allah, you know, but we know man is a vessel of the great God Allah. But when you look at the real symbolism, it's what has in his hand. And it's the eye of Heru, or the eye of Ra. And you see, if you go into the Arabic, we talk about the Wajala, which means the face of Allah, right? Now, the word used for face in the book of Genesis, Ayin. And it says God moved, or the spirit of God hovered upon the face of the waters. But nevertheless, it says the spirit of God. So Wajala is stated, and this is in the Quran, Surah 2, Ayat 115, where the chairman say, where's the nearest and most dearest place you can meet Allah? You know, in the heart and all that come from this same root. It says this is the transcendent essence of everything, or the inner reality of each entity. So let's think about the Netiru. Let's think about everything in creation. The inner reality of the plant kingdom, the inner reality of the mineral, the inner reality of the beast, the inner reality of man. See, it's saying that God is present in the essence of everything in creation. And that's why I went on to say, well, wherever you turn, there is the face or the reality of Allah. And this also takes us back to the measure in our Moorish Holy Quran, when we say, when man looks into the face of man, he's basically looking into the face of Allah. Allah speaks to man through man. This is right there in the Grand Quran, Surah 2, Ayat 115, and also Surah 12. Surah 2, Ayat 112. And so this word Waj in the Arabic, in ancient Egypt, was known as Wajet. And that's why you see the Wajet here, which I'm showing you the detail of the eye and pointing up to what's in the hand here. You know, and the eye of Ra and Heru, in other words, the omnipresence of God in man. We can actually say the omnipresence of God in creation. And this is why I showed our family in another measure that Allah also represents a dwelling place, you know, a state of existing, you know, where the Ra was said to migrate from the world, because he said the world had become so evil and rebellious and stiff-necked, so to speak. So Ra basically withdrew himself from the world and went into a place known as Allah, the garden of peace, a place of peace. So to actually exist in peace is to exist within the realms of the essence of Allah himself. You see? And also from that aspect, man, it don't get no greater. You know, so even our concept of dealing with the deific will, linking it up with, you know, man, I mean, it goes deeper than the way the Arabs explain this word Allah. You know, so you can't get around it. You know, we've proved it. We even show that the word Ra, you know, if you go into the essence, the R is interchangeable with the L. La, you see La, you see Ra and La are Ra Allah. You see, and we also see even just dealing with Ra in the form that it is Nur, Ra, Nura, which means the light. Well, Allah is the light of the heavens and the earth. Allah is the light of the heavens, which is the mind. You know, when he enlightens the mind, illuminates the mind, he is the spiritual son of the mind. And this gives light to the way we move. When he become our eyes in which we see, our ears with which we hear, our hand with which we grip, our leg with which we walk. And that's arm, leg, arm, head, that light guiding us, you know, and basically governing our senses, so to speak. So it's just a powerful measure, a grand measure, Morris Ken. I just wanted to add that to show our family, you know, the more they try to fight the truth, the harder it make me go as far as bringing it to the manifest. So they better be quiet, because, you know, if they want to keep their little ring and trying to deceive the people, it's going to be hard, you know, when you got me going at you like that right there. Because when you come against it, and somebody was actually going against me in this thread, you know, Morris Ken, that's the crazy part about it. Just briefly, all I did is post it in my own thread, and look at what we have here. I'm gonna show you what I have to deal with on a daily basis. Kemetic Adept Heron Station Spirit Wolf Allen, thank you, brother. I like the brother also, but I'm here for wisdom. So let me disagree, only for the sake of wisdom. Did Allah have a priesthood in Kemet, America? So American, since he's everywhere. Yeah, he said, and don't say Allah is the sun. When you say everywhere, is that energy? Then he asked me, he said, how could Noble Drew Ali practice Allah and Allah don't have a priesthood? So I told the brother right here, I say, his priesthood is present. And I'm one of his high priests, my brother. And I showed him the picture with me, the chairman, and all us up here, right? And so brother Eric Miller Bay liked it. And so then one of our brothers, in which he was in right in mind, it said, and this is brother from the MST of A, that's always following my posts. He said, the Holy Quran, chapter 10, 11 through 25, Jesus speaks to the holy, but the unity of Allah and man. And to the Hindus, this Allah, you are each one a priest just for yourself, you know? And so the brother put a teardrop up on that when the brother posted it. You know, then he said, praise Allah for reincarnation in the spirit and the truth. And then he told the young brother, you speak as fools speak. Wait a minute until I get upstairs to my library. And so he done stirred up the ethers. And yeah, this brother went into a whole bunch of, this hurts my soul. Jesus, do you really know who I am? And he said, had the cross before Jesus died in England. You know, so he attacking the brother from the MST of A for using that terminology. Then he said, man, that is not what you are conferring, to stay on the subject one at a time, young man. And so he was just asking a bunch of questions, you know, and another brother come in, which is a more that come up in the temple. He say, Moors are any original man from Saul. And then the brother said again, oh, really? Did Allah have a priesthood? How could Drew Ali practice Allah and Allah don't have a priesthood? And, you know, so, man, he goes into a whole bunch of stuff in here, Moors, and it's just this is what I have to deal with. I post something like this on my page, and this my page now. That's like my house. How you gonna come up in my house? You know, I don't like that plaque you got on the wall right there. It's supposed to really mean this. Like, I mean, if you don't like it, just see it there and keep it moving. But don't come in here and start a whole, and they'll argue with me for like Shumps and Bano. They'll go all day long. But we know it's just getting them to think. You see what I'm saying? And so a lot of time they'll come back. Like I had a brother and a sister come yesterday. man, what you said was the truth. I was telling these ones about a while back about the comforter and telling them that Muhammad was the comforter that was mentioned in the Piscean records. And I showed also the book of remembrance, the Grand Quran being prophesied in the book of Malachi. And so they're like, you got to prove this stuff right here to me. And so I went to laying it down. There was another brother in there. He's a Hebrew, but he studied all languages and everything. He's so, man, Kamisha, you got to go in on these ones. They're challenging this garbage because half of them dumb. He was more upset because he know what I'm saying. And he want to bridge the gap between the Moors and the Hebrews. But you got those who don't want to, see that unity. So they bucket. And the brother went up and found his DNA papers. And they said that he was part of the Sephardic or the Philosophian Moors, basically. He got Moorish blood. And that's why he like, man, I don't care about none of that stuff y'all saying, none of you Hebrew camps. I'm Hebrew. He said, but my DNA telling me I'm Moorish. So it ain't got nothing to do with what y'all talking about. And so, yeah, he was rooting for me, so to speak. And nevertheless, they didn't want to see it. And so I just go and put all the truth out there. Don't lay it down. Here it go right here and leave it there. I ain't finna watch you and stand over there and see if you get it. If you pick it up, you do. If you don't, all is well. And sometime they'll come back into it and be like, man, I knew it. Well, you can't reject something when you receive it from the beginning. Like I just said something and somebody, I don't believe that. Well, we already know you don't know what you're talking about because you rejected it as soon as it came out my mouth. You ain't went in no book. You ain't studied it. And it have that has to do with bias. And that's cancel culture when it comes to us. All that pseudo hollering and screaming and carrying on, and the people waking up. So I just wanted to set that out there more as Ken, in the light of what we put out here. We got to study, but they can't talk that stuff about Allah no more. Islam, praise be to Allah. We know who he is, even outside of what's been shown. So Islam, is there any other more that would like to come forth and give a portion?
I would just say, National Sister Grand Sheikh, Islam. As you were speaking and you had the, you had the picture of the Allah, the pillars, which the Wajed, and then we see, the man in the middle, the creation of all the man. And up on the bottom, we see the hieroglyphs. And I was looking at the hieroglyphs, and you see what they say, a chicken, or you see a bird. It made me think about, it made me think about, what's his name? Dr. Fox Bay always talking about little polar chick. You know what I mean? Because see, polar chick. See, what happens is when we talk about heroism and all these truths, well, who you go hand feed? You want to be hand fed, or you go eat from, or you go sword and get to that native plane that we need to go to, which our Father God Allah. So see, polar chick. Well, that's spelled polar chick, because see, begging nation will never attain its highest height of spirituality. So as you were speaking, Grand Man, it's just so many paradigm shifts about National Grand Secretary of State says, as you were speaking, but it made me think about that. Our parable, polar chick. The polar chick made it home. It's love.
Islam. Well, yeah, it ain't strange that it got the little quail, the chick right there behind it. That's the thing. Signs and symbols of a conscious mind. It's, for example, like instantaneously just looking behind you, looking at our flag. We don't have to see the whole flag to know what the flag represents according to the symbol. You see what I'm saying? And that's how it is when it comes to dealing with understanding creation. You see, when you look at creation itself, brother, and you look from a divine standpoint, you can read the divine message that is being stated. Like, for example, the world go to acting up. All these earthquakes and, typhoons and everything else you want to see coming on the manifest. These are all divine messages, coming from the book of creation. What is it saying? It's saying that the world is so chaotic, then the world itself is acting out. It's bringing, we know this is divine wrath, just dealing with simplicity. I mean, just studying the nature of creation, we are able to therefore go back to, the metal netta you know, the inscription, so to speak, and then we can see the formulas by which we are able to heal humanity if we read it properly, instead of trying to read it the way the Europeans did. And they only created that particular form of trying to make it a hieroglyphic breakdown to compete with the other Europeans and say, I did it first. Sound familiar? Don't it sound like some of our people? You know, they mad at the chairman because he came forth with the concept of government first. Let it have been, you know, some of the other Moors in these other demonstrations that came, and they'll be running tooth and, you know, all up in, oh yeah, we love this demonstration right here. We a real government, but only because they are, you know, biased against who the great God Allah chosen, just like they did with the prophets. You know, and their insolent arrogance, they reject the truth. You know, so yeah, powerful measure, Grandman. Islam. All right. Islam, any other more would like to come forth?
Islam.
Islam, Grandman. Brother Marvin Edwards Bay. What have you to
Gratitude.
say?
Gratitude, God, man, for calling me. This is Dr. Edwards Bay out of Texas Consulate, rising, giving all praise to the great God Allah. Giving highest honor to his prophet, our prophet, Prophet Noble Drew Ali, Al-Hajj Sharif Abdul Ali. Give honor to our theocratic government, our Moorish American government. Give honor to our Act One. I give high honor to all of our officials. I give high honor to this class, our Egyptian Adapted Research Sultanate class, as well as I give honor to you, our National Assistant Grand Sheikh, for hosting our class, as well as I give honors to Dr. Torrey Simpson Bey, Torrey Anu Rasul Simpson Bey, for, you know, using this platform to bring this, you know, this demonstration on the manifest. As well as I give honor to all those that aided in bringing forth our class this morning. This is a very powerful class. You know, as far as my research is concerned, it's kind of limited because I didn't put forth the effort. It's not an excuse. I mean, it's just the reality of it. But I did get an opportunity to study some of those PDFs that you sent, and which was very enlightening, and it just bears witness to the job that has to be done, you know, the effort that has to be put forth. And the particular PDF is that topography. Hopefully I said that correctly. And just reading that particular document, having to go in and actually look up the different words within it, you know, it just goes to show how much information is really within just that particular document. And so, you know, because it talks about, you know, how, I guess it's the landscape, the geography of things, how when the brother was I mean, this research team, you know, how they was going in a boat, you know what I mean, traveling up the Nile, you know what I mean, and depicting what they saw, you know what I mean, that was on the scene. And so this was part of that topography, topography or whatever, you know, of putting together, or tying together the languages and the actual scenery that was on the scene at the time, even though those changed at certain times, and different people come on the scene and then they change it and put different objects or different, you know what I mean, buildings or however you want to put it, to project their image. But through this particular study, you know what I mean, it goes back and back to what it was at one time, and it all is transferred to that language. And just as you were showing on that video of the brother talking about how that one, say, form or picture was a word, you know what I mean, not just an alphabet, you know what I mean? And it just bears witness to, say, the hieroglyphics itself, you know, how within it, there's still a lot of knowledge. Just like our people, the Moorish Americans, there's still a lot of wisdom to be learned from our people, because it is embedded, like say, in our DNA, in our mind, in that spirit that is within us. You know what I mean? And so, but we got to put forth the effort. I got to put forth the effort. I got to put forth more effort. You know what I mean? So that, you know, I could bring on the manifest, like our national, our Grand National Secretary of State. She always beautifully bring forth that truth. You know what I mean? And they put it in such a fashion that you can understand. So this is something I'm reaching for. You know, I mean, just as yourself. You know, so I just want to just give you honors and say I appreciate everything that you do, everything that you have done, and everything that you will do for uplifting our nation, uplifting fallen humanity, and keeping the prophet out front and bear witness to there is no God but the great God, Allah. Gratitude, God, man, for allowing me to speak. Islam in peace.
Gratitude for the measure, brother. Islamism without the schism. Praise be to Allah. In Islam, Moors too, those of you who had already, I want to bring this message to the manifest too, the brothers who have received the full measure of their uniform, send us a reflection so that we can put a measure out there to inspire, you know, Moorish America. You know, we want to put a reflection out there so that the family can see what it looked like to be Moorish America. Islam. Okay, at this time, since we have spoken, well, we can go to Act 1. Our Grand National Chairman, Dr. Akinak and Pert M. Heru, took to come and bay if he's on the manifest. Islam.
Islam?
Islam, Grand Man.
Islam, mighty one. Grand for Islamism without the schism, man. Woo. Let me rise your praise to Allah and honor the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. And it's the Prophet brought us everything. He take to save ourselves as a nation. And this is really what the main thing I want to speak about as far as keeping the Prophet out front. There's only one place and where you can get the title of prophet, and that's in Kemetic. And Noble Drew Ali, although he was born in the state of North Carolina, he went to Egypt, Kemet, and he came back. He got everything. He deserved everything. He got everything because he was an angel of Allah from the get-go. And so he went to where angels go to get the title of angel, prophet. So the thing about it is that we want the Moors to know what it means by keeping the prophet out front. That is key for those who are conscious to think that they got. If somebody asks you what's your nationality and you can tell them, then you should also know where it came from. So with this in mind, in fact, that was the topic. That's our question for today. Is we start with question number 24 on page 1 in our questionnaire. And that is, who was your hostess? He was the prophet of Allah. So in so doing, we want to acknowledge the fact that what we have on us is to accept everything that the prophet brought to us. Now we've got to put it together, come together as Moorish American nationals and save ourselves as a people. We got nations of the earth to save after we save ourselves. But if you don't save yourself as a nation, as a government, how are you going to help somebody else? So it's key, it's very important, and I want to thank everyone and for acknowledging everything that Prophet brought, you know, our flag, our Grand National Seal, emblem, our divine constitution, our Holy Quran, everything. Man, there's nothing stopping us from being a nation of people except ignorance. So this is what I want to say, Islam.
Yes, sir. Islam, Chairman, you sure enough right about that. And yeah, problem with our people, they rather ignorance over what's common sense, you know. So woo-wee, it's a measure. I heard them talking last night on one of them channels, talking about leadership just want somebody to follow them. You know, Noble Drew Ali, we know way more than what he know back then. Right now, if he was here, he couldn't survive, you know, in the measure that we demonstrate. And I'm like, what is this fool talking about? none of them leaders that come back then, Marcus Garvey, and they were like, well, brother, you followed Khalid Muhammad at one time. He was like, even Khalid, it's stuff he didn't know that I know now, and we know, and we putting this information. And one brother asked him, well, what if we take away, and it was a more, Brother Roy Bay, matter of fact, the one who tried to arrange the meeting between us and Braden Bay. He said, well, if we get rid of everything it is that we stand on, what is it that we got to follow you behind you? I'm just putting the information out here. It's up to you to do what you need to do to go where you going. He was like, well, brother, that means we must all follow atheism then. He said, because that means you just believe in nothing or whatever it is you want to believe, you know, but at least you got something to stand in. And, you know, he was just trying to get a brother to come around to the truth, but it's sad, like the chairman say, our people is crazy. How you gonna talk about what Prophet Noble Drew Ali don't know? And Negro, you ain't did nothing in this new era in time. That's what I be asking. What's your work? What you done did? Show me. Prophet Noble Drew Ali had schools. He had all types of stuff. Moving companies, cleaning companies, man, herb, teas and compound. Man, he was doing it and did it in 7 years. And some of our people been here 100 years and still ain't been able to build one business. So man, get out of here with that. And you ain't freed nobody. All that stuff you're talking, you ain't, who you done raised up? We want to see some evidence. Y'all want to see some proof. I want to see some proof. We don't believe you. You need more people, you know? So it's Slum Morris kid. I give honor to our chairman because he keep that scimitar sharp. Stir me up over here. Islam, well, let us call for our National Grand Sheik, Dr. Serapis Amin Rael, because he most out there on the front line looking at these ones. And we be laughing together at these ones. Islam, you there, grand man, Sheik? If you're speaking, we can't hear you, Sheik. I see you're unmuted, but you might be muted on your other portion of the phone. And you just muted yourself back out on here. So, okay. See if your mute, like your jaw done touched the mute on your regular phone. Okay, you went back off again. Okay, you came back, but we can't hear you. Man, Rome ain't built nothing to last. There they go again. Now, y'all ain't finna play with my National Grand Sheik like this here. Try it again, Sheik. It still ain't letting him pull it in. Yeah, I think it's muted on the other side. I think it's muted on your phone, Sheik. What I'm gonna do? Hold up. Let me see if I can. I'm gonna try to call you real quick, Sheik. Hold up. Let me Okay, I'm gonna try to call you, Sheik, if you hear me, and I'll let you speak through my end. Let's see here. So we want to definitely hear from you. All right.
He unmuted.
Yeah, it's probably something going on with his phone. I'm calling him now so he can answer from the phone.
Can you hear me now?
Oh yeah, we hear you. We hear you, Sheik.
That was the
Yeah, the mute your mic though. Yeah, Islamism. Can you hear it now?
I can hear now.
I think that's coming from your side too, Sheik, because they muted you out on the computer and it still got an echo coming.
It says my microphone is not working.
Oh, it say your microphone ain't working?
Please check the connection.
Oh, so I can hear what it is. Mute yourself out over there, your computer.
That's what I'm doing.
Yeah, mute the computer out. Cause that's what it is. My sound coming through your computer. Yeah, you know when you turn the volume up, just take that volume icon and mute it out. Or just pull it all the way back to where it's low. Okay, you got it, Sheik. There you go. Uh-oh. Okay. Yeah, well, you still got a lot of feedback. You got the, like I say, did you turn the your computer volume down?
How about that?
Yeah, no.
I'm trying to do that now.
Yeah. You might have to call, hang up and try to.
Let me come back in.
Okay, it's long. Okay, goodness gracious, Rome done knocked the sheet whole volume off the apparatus, man. It's that all we can say is that season.
Islam, and I think if you got two devices on at the same time, you're gonna get that feedback.
Yeah, that's what I was telling him though, to try to turn it down, but evidently that wasn't working. Sound like he was trying to turn it down, but it wasn't. Something else is going on because he say his mic ain't working. So I don't understand how he can get that feedback if that mic wasn't on. So that's why I say it's a technical situation. But when he come out and come back in, you know, he should be able to get it going. So like I say, praise be to Allah though. More, we just want to give honors to everybody that's on the manifest, you know, in this new era in time. And we getting ready to go after this particular class here too, by the way, you know, most definitely up into the rest of the Kemetic language, especially when we talk about the we actually going into the realm of the Meroitic and the actual essence of dealing with the demotic and so forth and so on. So, you know, that's our next phase. And after that, we already know we dealing straight with, you know, everything that has to do with the hieratic. And, you know, and then we'll get into the metaphysics of the symbols. This is we basically climbing our way from where we were all the way back, you know, because masterminds are able to trace themselves back and thus they know. And all of this gives us a foundation in the information so that once we get that foundation, you know, and we start putting our, like I say, our lexicon, our dictionary, our Moorish dictionary together, you know, with the Kemetian measures, you know, all of us can participate in this. For those who had not really been involved in this class, you know, it's gonna be, you know, they're gonna be behind a little bit. But you just gonna have to pick up what we, you know, give it out, because the more is now that they know it, everybody can teach from these particular measures now. Those who have, you know, taken this class, you know, where it need to be, you know, they will be able to demonstrate. Like I say, we ain't gonna tarry long. You know, we going back and we when we go to building with this language, we want to start producing works. Like I say, you know, we're gonna get together and start transliterating, you know, certain books together. You know, our own Moorish Grand Quran. We're gonna get together, do that. We're gonna transliterate, you know, in time, our own Moorish Torah, if that's what you want. Anything our Moorish kin, our own book of coming forth by day. You know, we're gonna get into all those measures. So we got plenty of work to do. They say one brother was able to transliterate what, over 1,500 books. So I know that we as a people can get together and do some transliteration, because we talking about the Library, Archives, and Wisdom. We got to start somewhere. We can't stay dependent on what Rome done put out, because we see what they doing every time you get in there. The remix is real. Goodness gracious. Yes. All right, Sheik, you ready?
Islam, can you hear me now?
Oh man, crystal clear. We hear the swift angel wings flapping over there in the background. It's on.
We want to give a lot of praise because we've been getting tested by Satan for the last 4 or 5 days. We don't know if it's a personal thing or whatever, but we know they on the manifest and they seeking whom they may divide. But at the same time, you know, we got the protection of our Father God Allah, and the angelic force is here, there, and everywhere. And so one know how to move out of these things. To get to the subject matter at hand, more it is essential that we get this other language or languages, because of the ambassadorship of the state of communication with other nations, and the fact that they have representatives, and we have to be able to speak in their language or the languages of the people that we find ourselves unfolding to. As you know, you see the what's going on in the wider realm at the Czar, and it's not a joke. These ones may try to blow themselves up. So if they're gonna blow themselves up, that means they're gonna blow us up. So we got to be at the steady and at the ready, you know, to have, just in case there has to be a automatic, not takeover, but automatic replacement because of what's going on. The whole art of government is getting ready to crush, and we have to be able to continue our movement. So these languages and the language that we're speaking or learning, the language of our ancestors is crucial to these things, and we applaud the Chief for stepping forth in the leading aspect of giving us these lessons, because that can be further from the truth. We've said it like that. And to the chorus of angels that are deeply endowed with the wisdom of the more, our Grand National Secretary of State, or Grand National Assistant Chairman, Grand National Chairman, and Angel 151, just a host of angelic forces that are on call and be ready to be called should there come an emergency and an urgency to step forward. And we have to be able to speak the language. And I really somewhat closed in with that, and we'll give you a call. But as it comes to my mind that to hear the ancestral language, but to be able to speak it yourself is how you say it, amazing. And I definitely want to learn, and we're here to learn. And we say we're here to learn, we also here to earn, you know, to step up the course of our understanding that we have with each other as brothers. I read that every night because that is phenomenal. It's crucial to us. You was talking about the more that sort of like call itself challenging you, and the fact that you ain't caught up or hyped up in the big eye and little you syndrome. You was giving them more an idea that he could take on and rise up a little bit further. But we're gonna beat these kind of what you call it? I don't want to call it contestants, but brothers and sisters that are looking for the truth, but they've been molded down in what has been given to them. You know, everyone says, say it loud, I'm black and I'm proud. And this is what the demonstration is. He's not going to see it no other way. Sister Chairman, go out there on the highways and byways. I get a report from the angel, and this is what he's talking about. This is what they're talking about. So it is crucial that we, with all our patience and wisdom that Allah has provided us, grasp the significance and importance of these lessons here on these conference calls, because it can't do nothing but elevate us. And like the prophet said, I'm due in the east. See, and if you look at the prophet sitting in the chair is sitting in where? The chair is sitting in where? In the west. But it's facing what? The east. He's telling us this is where he got to go. The prophet seed is everywhere. It's a universal seed. And we definitely have to, as the angelic force that we are, something like 9 million in total. Well, I shouldn't have gave that number out, because I know Satan gonna be trying to find out who they are. But it don't make no difference. We ain't had nothing. That angelic force is here. And it was here because somebody called us. And so this is where we give praise to Allah, like the prophet said through our chairman, I wish a member would. And this is where we get our lesson to love instead of hate, to teach out, reach out, and become that which is a manifesting essential. I was telling one, and I'm gonna make it quick, Chief. I was telling one the other day, I forget which one of the classes it was about, may have been, but at the same time, talk about that fallopian tube and how all of us come through that too. But it's the microphone. If you're gonna get a drawing off of it, we have been somewhat, like more say, I'm in tune. We demonstrate, I'm in tune with that. Well, if you're in tune with that, then you're in tune with the great one. And this is all one is teaching one in these classes that we learn here, that we're more than what we seem to be.
Islamism, without the schism, it couldn't have been said better, Sheikh. We give honors to you for that, grand man. Praise be to Allah. Islam. All right. Well, at this time, and we actually should have went back to our Grand National Secretary of the State, you know, soon as we come behind the chairman, but I know she all good and well. She knows she don't charge it to my little hard, you know, even though we may slip a little bit here and there. But Islam, Grand National Secretary of the State, what have you to say, Goddess and Queen?
Islam, having already risen, giving praise and honor where due, I am just so elated, so happy. Allah, you know, it's just, Allah has so blessed us as a people, you know, and all we have to do is continue to unfold, continue to do the research, continue to study self, and we just continue to receive blessings. So, you know, I just give honor to Act One, give honor to this forum, all the forums, give honor to our government. And, you know, so humbled by, you know, how you've been on a desert seeking and searching for water. And when that water is finally found, you know, then it's an elation there. So, you know, I can't add anything more or take anything away. It's just a blessing and an honor to be here in this new era of time amongst giants, you know, and just I'm grateful and humbled. So peace and blessings and gratitude for this class. Gratitude.
Islam, peace and blessings and gratitude, Grand National Secretary of the State, for that measure. Oh man. Well, all right. I seen well, a few minutes ago, I thought Sister Allset was there with Brother Jeremy, but they dropped off. So Islam, praise be to Allah. Islam to the Moors. Y'all did a grand job. Thank you, Moors, for coming forth and opening up the way and keeping it moving. You know, but we give honors to you for all that you have. All right, we see you, Brother Muhammad Bey. I thought Sister Allset was there. You got her on the brush too, brother? Okay, Islam. I think our brother working hard. I know how that be. Praise be to Allah. We love you, brother. Yes, sir. I'm gonna need you to come up out of that closet over there, brother. You just for a minute. That's painter talk right there, Morris Ken. That's how the painters talk to each other. Islam. Give honors to you, grand man. Well, all right. At this time, we're gonna pass it back over to our Morris Ken. We love you, Morris American. Man, these been some powerful classes. Our people elevating, and man, the babies ain't gonna have nothing to worry about when it come time to them to get the truth. You know, they ain't gonna be able to hold nothing back from them because we giving them everything. Islam. All right now. Go ahead, brother Simpson Bay. Gratitude, brother, for you and Bati Bay and all the Moors for holding up the fort. Islam.
Dr. Bati Bay.
Islam. January 15th, 1929. A warning from the prophet to be read at every meeting. I hereby inform all citizens that they must end all radical agitating speeches while on their jobs, homes, or on the public streets. We advocate peace and not destruction. Stop trying out your cards with Europeans, for it causes confusion. There has been much confusion caused by citizens trying out their cards. The cards are for your salvation.
Dr. Bay.
Islam.
Yeah, that's the not the right one.
Yeah, my computer's the word is down, so I don't have Islam.
Okay, well, I'll go ahead and take over. Gratitude. I got you back. Islam. Well, January 15th, 1929, a warning from the prophet to be read at every meeting. I hereby inform all citizens that they must end all radical agitating speeches while at work, in their homes, or on the streets. We are for peace and not destruction. Stop flashing your cards at Europeans. It causes confusion. Remember, your card is for your salvation. Failure to obey these orders will be of severe consequence. We offer love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And when these principles are violated, justice must then take its course. Any citizen or group of citizens who hold malicious feelings toward the government or the prophet, or violate the divine covenant of the Moorish movement, will receive their reward from Allah for their unjust deeds. All true Moors will and must obey the law as laid down to them by their prophet. If they lose confidence in their prophet, they should turn in their card and button, cease wearing their turban and fez, and return to the state where I, the prophet, found you. This is a holy and divine movement founded by the prophet, Noble Ali, and if the prophet is not right, the government is not right. The prophet therefore is sending out the divine plea to all Moorish Americans that they do their part in protecting their prophet and the government. This is an everlasting movement founded by the prophet through the will of Allah to redeem his people from their sinful ways. The order of Prophet Noble Ali. And if you want to, Dr. Bati Bey, you can read the Holy Covenant of the Asiatic Nation,
Islam. Chapter 25, Holy Covenant of the Asiatic Nation. Ye are the children of one father, provided for by his care, and the breast of one mother hath given you suck. Let the bonds of affection therefore unite thee with thy brothers, that peace and happiness may dwell in thy father's house. And when ye separate in the world, remember the relation that bindeth you to love and unity, and prefer not a stranger before thy own blood. If thy brother is in adversity, assist him. If thy sister is in trouble, forsake her not. so shall the fortunes of thy father contribute to the support of his whole race, and his care be continued to you all and your love to each other. Peace. Islam, Islam, Islam. Peace and love, Moors.
Peace and love. Peace and love, Grand.
Grand class. Peace and love, Morris.
Grand
Grand
class.
class. Great job. Grand class.
Great class.
Moore's grand research, bro. We love you, Moore.
I love y'all.
It's love.
Peace and love.
Peace
All
and
right,
love.
see y'all in Sunday school, Moors. Islam.
Islam. Sunday school.
It'll be I'm like I said, I'm gonna go ahead and also do another Facebook Live for the Sunday school. Like I said last week, family, it was had like 27 shares, like 17 views, and so Sunday had a good number. And then Monday was even greater, it was an even better number when it comes to on the Facebook Live. So just a quick report, synopsis on as far as the progress of the Facebook Live. And last night, Dr. Shaheed, I think there was maybe 17 views, about maybe 20 shares. So it was more views and shares than just one just looking at it live. It was more views and shares. So Islam, I just want to give you all that synopsis. Islam?
Islam.
Islam.
How you access it?
Just Facebook Live.
Yeah, and
so
sharing it too, more on your own page. Share it because I shared it a lot of times as well. And if more share it too, that'll get to people who may not be in.
Yeah, because this is that time, but we got to get it out there, man. I mean, every apparatus we can use, get it out there, man, because our people don't know. Well, if they don't know, they go out to know. Islam.
Islam.
Islam. Peace and love.
All right, peace, man.
Peace.
More.